So I caught longs at 43 and I ended up actually holding until 97. And then I totally missed a short. That was a beautiful, beautiful short. That was it though. Off the open, the reason why I got in was because of this hourly trendline hold. And then I did say in the chat, I don't know if you were listening, XY, but this is funny that I use this, but Kramer actually said that he said something about we're not even oversold yet. And he is the ultimate inverse. So I was like, no, we're going to actually push off this open. Yeah, so I tried my luck there. And I went super light, unfortunately. But being light was the reason I was able to hold through that many points. So yeah, and then I did have a fib level up here, which is why I exited. I just really wish I caught that short. That was a beautiful short on your end. But as far as like my future strat, honestly, it's very simple. I just go on higher time frames. And what I basically do is I just mark my fibs from the most recent high to the most recent low, right? So we took from October 10th to this high here at October 29th. And that just gives me my most important fibs in this range here. Oh, and that was also actually XY another reason why I went long. This morning, I realized that if they wanted us lower, we would have already broken this fib level here, this 629, and we didn't. And then, of course, the Kramer tweet. But yeah, and then what else I do is I just go in on the hourly. It's not marked right now, but I do the same thing. I go from my most recent high and low, mark those fibs as well, and then I just create zones where those fibs overlap. Those are these yellow zones here, and then I just remove those hourly fibs just because decluttered the chart a little bit for you guys. Dude, I am kicking myself for not catching that short XY because I do the same thing as you. You call it, what, the 3-bar?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I think that's what it's called. It's like a 3-bar reversal.
Yeah, this right here. This is something like PAX would get mad at us for if just trying to, time the top or the bottom. But it really does offer like a really great opportunity to try and catch that reversal. And you know what? When you did it this morning, like your risk was very limited because all you had to do was put your stops here at the high. And then just, if you get stopped out, you get stopped out.
My stop was actually even prior to the high. I got in watching the same spot see insane buying. So every time they would get up to a certain spot, I think it was these 50s, they're buying it with both hands. And every time it just doesn't move. So I actually put my stop right above that. So the high is where we're saying like, say the 988s. I was willing to initiate those shorts because at the time, we were about 100 points from my 9 EMA. I only used a 5-minute. And so there were so many confluences where, okay, even if the overall direction would be wrong, as in the 9 EMA would end up catching the trend again and continue, I've got such a big runway that I can still get paid on this trade and have an opportunity to continue with the trade, which is why, obviously I scale out, like what Pax would say. When you can scale, you can be on the wrong side but still make money. And I say wrong side as in if the day's done what it did, it just ran up. And even if you're getting a 100-point move downside, but it holds, to me, that's not the right direction. It's the right direction for now. And as a scalper, that's pretty much what I play for. That's why I scale out. When I play order flow, when I'm looking at it, the idea is, all right, what are they going to do in the short term? What kind of a runway do I have? And am I willing to hold anything for continuation afterwards? So that 9 EMA did give me a lot. If the 9 EMA runway was shorter, I would not have initiated that, or I would have just broke even on it, not given it much of a leash, as it would keep testing my entry. Logan asks, how does it move without volume? The long earlier, how did it move without volume? So in my lens, the market moves like this without the volume build because no one was willing to step in the way on the offer side. So if that's the case, the market really has one job, and it's to match the buyers and the sellers. And if there's all this interest on the buy side, but not enough sell interest, it has to keep going to find the sell interest. So what you're seeing is as the market's ripping, no one's really willing to offer these prices. And so the market's going to keep going. And the volume is thin because it's one-sided tape. It's just bid. No one's there to step in front of it. And then you hit this spot where finally they find, it's obviously the swings, so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. Could be a million things on your chart. But finally they find that, and the market made the decision that there's not enough interest to actually buy through the spot still. There's supply that outweighs the offer, outweighs the bid. So now on the way down, anyone who wants to sell higher, well, now you're going to see this and be like, well, I can't get my offers. And if you want to offer the market, you're going to have to offer it lower. And finally, the offer starts to present itself.
Another thing is the type of trader that you end up becoming also has everything to do with who you are. So like, for example, Pax is like, a very prominent figure in the trading community. He's someone you should look up to, someone you should try and emulate. But you need to also remember, like, you might not have the same characteristics that he does, right? So you might be someone who's better at scalping just based off of who you are as a person, right? Versus someone who might be a little bit more patient. They like to take, longer day trades. They like to be in a trade for hours or days. So everything in trading is subjective, really. It just comes down to who you are as an individual. And the longer you are in this career, the more you'll figure out about yourself and the type of trader that you want to become.
You have to be patient with yourself too.
Someone said, what fib levels do I use? Here you go. I'll just pull it up for you, and you can... The ones that are checked off are the ones that I use. You guys can screenshot that. Someone else asked, what are the ones underneath my candles? That just tells me that candle is an inside bar. So on whatever time frame we're on. So I'm on the 15. This is an inside bar, it means that it didn't take the high or the low of the previous candle. It's basically sitting inside of that last previous candle. Hope that makes sense. This is basically, guys, part of the strat. So if you used strat, you'd know.